All right, we are back at the podcast MSU4People. I am Jared. I'm going to be leading today's discussion about sexual assault. I got Jay Cole with me.
What's up?
I got Zach Harless.
Hello.
And Isaac Oswald.
Hey guys.
Okay, so we're just going to dive right in here. Sexual assault, recently kind of up and coming issue that's always has been an issue. We've been learning about it a lot. As many of you people know, for people that don't know, MSU got exposed. We had an athletic trainer who just had a numerous amount of cases filed against him. And I don't even know what really happened with the mix-up. Complaints were coming, and he even got complaints. He was a trainer on the Olympic team, and finally just got exposed, and it kind of brought on this whole new movement at Michigan State regarding survivors, like educating and informing people about sexual assault, seminars. I mean, it's just totally, I mean, I wasn't here last year, but it's completely changed the culture of this college. I mean, there's emails sent out every day asking them to fill out surveys about how they feel about the safety. We were required to go to the seminars to get educated, which, I mean, I feel like for most decent people that's pretty obvious, but I think it was a good thing to do that. And yeah, so I think there's some pros and cons to what happened to MSU. So first of all, we did get exposed, and it became clear that sexual assault is a problem at Michigan State. But I don't think what people realize fully is that sexual assault is happening on campuses countrywide. You know, D1 party schools, any school has tons of cases of sexual assaults per year.
Mm-hmm.
So Jared, how do you think kind of these colleges should move forward? Like, yes, we got the extra like meetings, the like announcements, or what would you call them? Like is it seminars? Or yeah, like we get these, but like what other ways do you think we could move forward?
So here's the thing is, this is an issue that stems from like a social cultural issue. It's not just an issue at colleges, it's increased in colleges, but it's happening in workplaces, I mean everywhere around the world. Really, the only way you can truly change, which MSU students have been taking these steps, is it's a social internal change, like from the students. You can't just pass some rules and this and expect stuff to change. It has to be a whole culture. Like you see, I mean, on Monday they had the wear teal for sexual assault survivors. I mean, that spread around. I wore light blue because I didn't have teal. I mean, it's all about like educating from within and just changing the culture, and students like making a stand. Not really as important what the administration is doing. Administration's job is really just to like show how this is a problem and bring it to the attention, and then it's the students' jobs within to change it.
Yeah, it's definitely a big part on the students to get change, because I mean it's the students that are doing these horrible stuff, and students will listen to students, and I mean that kind of shows. I remember at my seminar, like I didn't see very many people just not paying attention. Everybody was focused on who was presenting, and that was just really good. And yeah, so I just want to ask you, Jared, about how MSU compares to other schools, and if you go on that.
Yeah, so in regards to sexual assault, I mean, one problem that I deal with as an MSU student is kind of the judgments that other schools make of our students. You know, I mean, they'll call like our like students like nasty, and I've even had relatives call me like disgusting for going to MSU after what happened. What they don't really understand is that all this stuff going around and all the attention focused towards Michigan State is creating a safer environment because they are on such thin ice with money, with all these lawsuits, that they really have to like focus in on this problem, make sure that they don't get in trouble for anything again, because they have something like $500 million in lawsuits that they have to pay out. And I think just all this focus on Michigan State, on this one problem, is making it safer than other colleges.
I hate to go backwards here, but just to touch on something that you were talking about earlier, Jared, where you said that a lot of the progress has to come from the students. But at the same time, the whole situation with Larry Nassar was, complaints were coming into the administration, and administration was covering it up. The president at the time wasn't doing anything about it; they were hiding it. So while it is like a lot of responsibility does fall on the students to, improve their actions and to respect everybody equally, it also falls on the administration to make sure that their employees are in line and doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I think so. That's a really good point. And some of what I was trying to say is that like the problem of sexual assault is buried in the culture of colleges. The reason that it hasn't been exposed at other schools isn't because there aren't sexual assault cases. It's because the administration covers them up, don't report them, nothing is done about it. So the school does have a very important job, and that job, I think, is to bring to attention the problem instead of covering it up because of whatever reason. It might be money reasons. Now that they look at MSU and see all the bills that they have to pay, they might want to cover it up more. But the real job for the administration and for the school is to expose the problem and bring it to the attention to the students so that we can start making a change together.
That's why I was just so disgusted when they found out that MSU was covering up what was happening and really sheltering Nassar, and it's just disgusting to hear. And I don't know how many complaints there were against him. Do you know how many there were?
I believe there was over 50. I don't know.
Yeah,
the exact
that
number.
sounds about
It's
right.
just unbelievable.
Yeah.
That could just go on, and even in the Olympics too.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that there should be a interference from, I don't know if there's a national college council necessarily that makes rules for colleges, but do you think there should be something nationally put in place for every campus where they must go through the same seminars that we went through to talk about sexual assault and how to prevent it and all this? Do you think it should be standardized?
Yeah, I mean, so I wrote a research paper about sexual assault in high school, and at the end, the twist was that we had to come up with a way to solve this problem. The only thing I could come up with out of all the research I did and all the thinking I did was that it would have to be something coming from the government requiring schools to either let out the real numbers of sexual assault or treat every case like it's a real case, not just throw it out and not respect what the victim is saying. So yeah, it would, in my opinion, it really would have to be something from the national government or a government association requiring schools to do something like that. Because when obviously we see that it's in the school's power right now and what's happening. Sexual assault pandemic,
What other ways do you think the government could punish schools besides money? Money's a key thing for universities, but are there other ways that the universities can be hurt?
So one idea that I also had, which I think could work, is obviously all colleges have that pamphlet that they send out, information that they send to high school kids. So I think if a college isn't submitting those real numbers and the actual cases and not taking it seriously, then they get they have to insert something on their website or in those pamphlets that says we do not take in consideration many sexual assault cases, because that'll just, no one will want to go there if they see that there's a sexual assault problem there and that the school isn't taking care of it.
So the humiliation aspect is kind of what you want to target, I guess, because it's embarrassing if a college has
Yeah.
to put it on. So I'd say,
Yeah.
would you say that's like an embarrassment?
I mean, it's
guess,
not like
for them?
I mean, it is an embarrassment that they aren't handling that, but it's just the truth. And that's what has to happen, is that we need like honesty from colleges. What are you doing to solve this problem? How are you fixing it? What are the real numbers? Because, I mean, there's a similar amount of sexual assault cases at every big campus. You know, not one is a lot better than the other. So I think students just need to know, and parents need to know, what that school is doing to affect change.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're not, then they have to tell students, future students, that they're not doing
Yeah.
anything to prevent it.
But credit where credit is due, MSU is doing a pretty good job
Mhm.
of taking steps to resolve this and
Yeah.
try to make things better for the culture and everything. But then on our tuition, it's
Mhm.
pretty
Yeah.
ridiculous that
Yeah.
they're making us pay for it in
Mhm.
our tuition.
That is one issue that I'm not okay with. I love what MSU is doing. I love that they're implementing all these programs. I mean, even more importantly, I love that students are taking this into their own hands and solving the problem from within. But the thing is, all of us students in high school, we all went to, you know, what do you call it when you come and tour the college?
Orientation.
Yeah, orientation. I went here for orientation, met with a counselor or whatever, went over my grades, my SAT scores, and she told me I'd be getting a $6,500 merit scholarship. This was before the Nassar cases were exposed. And I was getting this scholarship because I had a 4.0 in high school and good SAT scores. And so, I mean, that was a reason. Also, I mean, I wanted to go to Michigan State. This was a school I wanted to go to, and that was a bonus, you know, instead of 22 grand a year or whatever that I'm paying full price, it would have been closer to 16. I mean, that's much more manageable for my family, and all other colleges do that. It's the problem I have with it is that us as freshmen and other students that had nothing to do with this problem was all because of Michigan State administration. All stem from that problem. They're the ones who covered it up. They're the ones who got themselves in this $500 million settlement. It's completely their fault. We as students should not have to pay the full 22 or 24 grand to help pay off their settlements. I mean, I don't want my parents' money or my friends' money to be paying off cases of sexual assault that was completely Michigan State's fault. I think that's pretty unfair.
I kind of have an idea of where the money could come from. I kind of learned this in my business class the other day. But like state, they will lease out like their logo and make profits off it. So just imagine these thousands of shirts that they sell each probably week. They're making money off it, but they're probably just keeping those profits and probably putting more of our tuition towards that. So I think them using kind of more of their, I guess, own money than charging the students more could be like an option, but
Yeah, I mean, it just really not a very ethical way to resolve this in terms of paying for the bills that they have to pay for.
Yeah.
I mean, there's already what, like 50,000 of us going here, and there's what, it costs $20,000 for tuition. I mean, that's what, is that $1 billion? Is that $1 billion?
That's a lot.
I think it
I don't
is.
know
Hit
if
that
I
in.
bust out a calculator, but
What is
another
it?
thing I was reading about that while you do the calculation was I forget exactly what the name of it is, but basically the big pool that donors donate money to the school is pretty much untapped when it comes to dealing with this kind of issue, and this kind of money is mainly used for constructing new buildings and improvements to the campus, where I feel as though, especially in this time of need, it could be much better used towards this settlement and paying the survivors instead of directing it to the students and tuition and all that nonsense.
That is true. And you were right, first of all, about the $1 billion thing.
Congrats.
Yeah, $1 billion
So much money.
in revenue. I
Yeah.
mean, come on.
I mean, that's a good point about the infrastructure and the way that state is spending their own money. I mean, another thing to look at is that this problem came from the athletic department, and it's like that section of MSU that probably had the main part in covering it up, not to mention it was their fault. And I mean, they do generate a ton of money. I mean, like, I just feel like there's so many other ways that Michigan State can pay off these settlements than by using our money.
And then think about this too. That was tuition and not including room and board, which is another $9,000. So,
Yeah.
So that's basically $30,000, which is almost $1.5 billion.
Yeah.
So
It's just,
they've got some money. It's just
Yeah.
unfortunate what's coming out of our pockets.
yeah, I mean, I want my scholarships back. I don't know about you guys. Any other questions or anything?
I think we did a pretty good job of covering this one up. So.
Alrighty, and that was our second episode of MSU4People. This was your host, Jared Nefsey. Next time, we will be talking about affirmative action with our host for that one, Zach Harless. There we go. See you guys next time.